As many of you know, lead is a toxic chemical that causes serious harm to children, to all of us, but to children in particular. We know that exposure has a much more powerful damaging effect on children than it does on adults. That is why I've introduced Assembly Bill 885. I am a former water board member and a former school board member and a former teacher, and also a parent of an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. So this hits close to home, and the bill aims to protect children from exposure to lead by requiring schools to install filters at every faucet and water fountain used for drinking and cooking.
In October, we had a school, a K-8 school, La Mirada, that because a contractor had come in and started doing work, he suggested something seemed a little funny about the water. It smelled bad, it seemed to be a little slimy and the wrong color. And so at that point, the school, in fact, tested the water and found that the levels exceeded what the EPA allows for drinking water. The school immediately shut down the water, but for months, very few of us knew that that even happened. As a result, I have introduced AB 746, which is a bill to require schools to do the testing of their water for lead levels and to immediately shut down any water fountain or drinking water that exceeds EPA standards. It also would require school districts to notify parents so their children can be tested for lead poisoning. And the reason this is so important is for years we've talked about the access to clean and fresh water. We've even declared it a right in the state. And yet we have schools, we provided money in the budget to help disadvantaged, in particular disadvantaged schools, replace faulty pipes where this is actually happening at the pipe level, not at the reservoir level. And yet we still have schools not doing the necessary testing that's often done for free by the water agencies or very, very low cost. So we think it's time for the state to step up and say, this is absolutely imperative. After what happened in Flint, we know how critical lead poisoning can be in our schools.
We know at very high levels, lead can cause dangerous neurologic symptoms or even death. But more recently, we have discovered that even a tiny amount of lead in the blood is toxic to the body. It is especially toxic to children who absorb this lead much more readily than adults. Even at levels less than 5 micrograms per deciliter, lead has been shown to cause diminished intellectual and academic abilities, higher rates of neurobehavioral disorders such as ADHD, and poor growth in children. So to help everyone visualize how tiny this level really is, I'd like you all to imagine the lead dust equivalent of a single grain of salt spread throughout a child's body. So 10 years ago, we thought this level was safe, but we now know this is not true. There's no safe lead level for children in the blood.
Now, the common sense solution to this problem is to remove toxic lead from our plumbing and pipes. And until we're 100% sure that that's done, we can protect our kids by using filters certified to remove lead and installing them at every tap at school used for drinking or cooking.
We want to move this bill as quickly as we can through the legislature, gain as much support as we can. I would argue from both sides of the aisle on this, put it onto the governor's desk and urge him to sign it quickly, because at a time like this, our kids can't wait.